Every moment, every time. At 12 noon every Saturday on this dial. It's definitely that moment for Sport Drill. A program dedicated to gospel sport as far as Nigerian sport is concerned, Oyo State and Nigeria as a whole. And of course, we're back once again. The second edition this year. We're here to definitely serve you the very best, even more than you can think. The sport illuminator Raymond Tolulope saying good afternoon once again to everyone listening to me right about now. It's been a beautiful week, a very beautiful week. Because we are right here, ready to do justice to every news as far as Nigerian sport is concerned. And definitely, I will not be the only one. You know, as usual, I've got my brother in the building. I'm going to take you on a ride. I know he's not going to leave me, definitely. I'm still going to go back to that new music, Don't Leave Me. I know Idris will not leave me now. Are you ready to leave me?
Are we doing Don't Leave Me challenge? It's a question that I need to ask that. I want answer to that question. Are we doing Don't Leave Me challenge? Because I discovered that you played that song before we got on the show. So
Don't leave me now.
And immediately I heard it. I wanted to ask that. Are we going to be having another version of Don't Leave Me challenge?
Somebody left. I mean, starting from the MPFL, definitely. Somebody left the MPFL. Yeah. You didn't say yesterday now. Let me say January 1.
Okay.
Talking about more Jesus of Sunshine Stars. Went straight to Latvia. And he signed a deal, 3-year deal, transfer fee, according to report, 10,000 euros. And of course, and after that, I think Sunshine Stars came out and said disregard that news. And, but then I think it's everywhere. The reason why I play Don't Leave Me, which I will still go back to that music, is because it's a big question, Idris, this morning. What is the worth of MPFL?
Really, if you look at the amount that was reported that Omojesu
yeah, you laughing now.
You want to say that maybe again, you look at the country, Latvia, how much are they getting? But one thing you can always be happy of is the fact that even if you are moving to Latvia, you know that you will not be old. And that's another thing.
That's number one.
That's number one. Even if they are paying you 200 naira at the end of every month, you know that you will be getting it, consistently. It will be very, very constant. And that's another thing, another point that most of these players are looking at before securing a move away from home. And well, the media officer of Sunshine Stars has come out to say no. Omojesu has not moved to anywhere. Maybe he doesn't want the news to get over the place because of that amount. It's very ridiculous that you are moving away from the locals, away from Nigeria to Europe, and at 10,000 euros, a football player, playing in the Nigeria Professional Football League, the top tier league in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, it's highly ridiculous.
Highly ridiculous, 10,000 euros. It is said it's highly ridiculous. But then he has left. And he has been listed as part of the team. Omojesu took part at the Oliver Cup. I think I watched him and he joined Spartak Jomala right here in Latvia. Oluwatimileyin Abiodun Oguniyi, popularly called Omojesu. Signed Spartak Jomala right here in Latvia. We'll come back to the world of MPFL. He has left, but then, like I said, don't leave me.
Drag water, enter bathroom, you won't go well. You might find water for desert, you might know well. Human being made out of dust, your skin. G-boy is already on the paper, push the magazine. Why I live relationship, I give my extension. Life hard, life get erection. I your likes to old people, but I'm not sure. Can I your own, can I your? That is the question. Hey. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Think. Don't leave me, don't leave me.
So don't leave me. Definitely. But in years, left for good. Definitely. Now breaking it down, Idris. I was asking what is the value of MPFL? 10,000 euro, 3 year deal. Some said 3 year deal, some said 5 year deal. Anyone it is. But before we begin to criticize that amount of money, Idris, the first question should be: what is the contract of Omojesu with Sunshine Stars?
Really, I think there are so many uncertainties surrounding that deal at the moment, because don't forget, this same Omojesu actually played the last game of the MPFL, where he even scored, I think, against FC Yuba.
He scored the only goal.
The only goal. And you want to say that in a matter of days, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a deal has been signed. Nobody, we didn't get prior notification concerning that. Nobody was, alerted concerning that deal, and everything just came about. And I think another ridiculous thing in that the way the deal was fashioned out is the fact that he's moving out. In fact, he has moved to Latvia now.
He's already on the list.
He's already on the list
be part of the preseason.
Preseason, yeah. Now, don't be shocked when you hear in the next few weeks or in the next few months that he has come back again. No, I know what I'm saying. Now, going back to the first question that you asked, what is the worth of the MPFL? So many times we've had MPFL, or we've seen MPFL players secure moved abroad and they came back later. I can begin to give instances. Salami.
I remember that. He went to Finland.
He will move. He will come.
He will come back. A lot of them like that.
I think Patrick Mfoundo of Aqua United. There was a time he moved abroad and he came back home again to play straight here. So you want to say that, and when they move like that, Raymond, they will. It's not like they will just go there and start playing. They will put them on trials. Now, why are you putting these players on trials?
A player within the MPFL?
A player that is playing the MPFL. Top tier division in Nigeria. And then you have, it's highly ridiculous, really. But again, you don't want to doubt the concern of these European clubs too. Maybe they are not too sure of the fitness of these players. And that is why whenever they are, trying to lure them abroad like that, they always want to place them on fitness tests before they put hands on paper for them.
Of course, put hands on paper for them. Like I said, once again, Gunilo Atilene joined the Latvian side. Jamala, and of course, he's right there. Join them now. 3 year, 5 year deal. Didn't know, but then a £10,000, €10,000 fee. I got a breakdown of the contract dictates, but then I don't think I'll say that on here. So that, but then breaking it down, I think, like you said, it's still better. For me, it's left the MPFL shackles.
Yeah.
I was just sitting down this morning. I was trying to see, okay, moving from Mundo to Nasarawa, moving from Mundo to Nadigo on the road, Idris, there is definitely going to be a certain effect on your body before you play the game. But in Latvia, European team, and of course, definitely, you are going to get that opportunity. There was a certain Tolulope Kodari who played for Latvian side. It was signed on loan by Cologne. It shows the opportunity, up there, moving to that side. So maybe somebody might think that's not a good move. But then I'll tell you, if you go to Eastern Europe or Western Europe, don't get it twisted. You're having a good move.
No, when people are saying securing a move to Latvia, securing a move to Serbia can never be a good move. It's based on the fact that they know that the amount you'll be getting at the end of the week, you understand. So, but one thing I always emphasize is the fact that even if you are getting 200 naira at the end of every week as a football player, that is you can begin to relate this with so many irregularities going on in the MPFL.
Definitely.
Like that of Atlant FC, of Wales,
Sunshine Stars, NWFL, a lot of them.
Being old. Even Oshun Babes.
Pelican
Stars. A lot of these teams are being old, backlogs of salaries. And you want to say that what is the gain of being a football player in this country?
Even if you are being paid 1 million naira every month, and you're being for 6 months,
you will feel it.
Definitely, because by the time you get that payment for 6 months, if you get it.
If you get it.
By the time you get that payment of 6 months, that is 6 million naira. Idris, the debt you have incurred, your money will not be able to pay it.
It can never be.
Because you not have the money to use it at a particular time when you need it the most.
I use it to pay debt. That's the problem about what we are going through in Nigeria. But then, for Omojesu, I think he must have considered a lot of things. He must have considered the pros and the cons before actually agreeing to move. And we just wish him the very best moving forward in his career.
Of course, we can just wish him the very best moving forward in his career. And of course, like I said, he has left. But then, don't leave me once again.
iPad. Hey. The snacks talk to each other. Is that a pie chart? Hey. I can't be lying because you know what I can't stand. Wolf in sheep's clothing is so rampant. Hey. Baby front there, coffee the person with the backside. She MJ big Christian. Why the brother on the backslide? Okay, take note, not just stand look. If I did wrong for school, she not exercise book. Hey. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Think. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Hey, don't leave me.
I've got a lot of people who say, "How can you?" I mean, I think I was, I think we had to get on the platform anyway. People begin to like Latvia, Albania, the likes, and I said something actually. I said, as far as Nigerian football is concerned, let me narrow down to football or sport in general as a form of survivor, as a platform to get a good life. I've seen players gone. Latvia is even good. I've seen players gone. Sri Lanka, Uzbekistan. See,
one thing about being a player in Nigeria is the fact that you always want to move abroad.
Definitely, because you want to get
because
better.
You want that fame, you want that name,
you want that better
ultimately,
life.
you want better life.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you want better life, and that is why players are so enthusiastic about getting a move abroad. And they don't care about whether it's going to be a very good place for them, whether they are going to hit the ground running. All they just want is that move. I want to play in a foreign land. Don't forget that some of our players are playing their trade in neighboring African countries.
Definitely.
We have players playing their trade in Egypt,
Togo, in fact, Benin Republic. They want that move, and they also want a bit of a security. Like, let me put it this way: if you are going to be like we're talking about,
you are right about the security.
If you are going to be paid consistently on your salary, you are not going to be owed.
Yeah.
And you find a platform in which this is certain. My friend, you will move. You have this security within yourself that after at the end of the month, my salary is going to come. It's different from being here, and you're being on 14, 16 months. There's no basis for it.
Another thing, Raymond, is the fact that job security is there abroad, because you cannot play for any team in the abroad without having a contract. And what guides a contract. You cannot do anything outside the contract. Now, look at what Atlant FC of Owerri, what they have done in time past. Don't forget, they are still under ban. They cannot sign players in the next two. I think they are serving one currently. So the next season, they won't be able to sign players too, because they ejected some players without putting into consideration what was stipulated in the contract of these players. And that is why they are banned. Teams in Nigeria just do things without putting into consideration. Maybe they don't even know the meaning of contract. Maybe we should start from there. They don't know the meaning of contract.
Why you talk about contract?
If you play abroad,
contract does not contract. Quote me anyway. Contract, as far as MPFL is concerned, does not exist.
Really, yes, you are right. I overheard. I think the one of the technical staff of I think Atlant now. Don't forget they played their first game against Katsina United that they lost, and they had issues with the hotel that they lodged. When traveling back, like they said that the hotel management was trying to hold them down because they were not able to pay on time and all that. So one of the technical team members was now saying that, look, we settled everything, but he made mention of one thing, Raymond. He said most of the players are on loan, meaning that 4 or 5 players really have a contract with them. So, there was a time we also understand that our own team too, many of their players, I don't want to mention them now, many of their players were on loan at that point in time. So maybe in Nigeria, we don't do anything with contract. You just want to pick players from anywhere, pick this one, pick this from this academy, from that academy, let them come and be playing for us. And but you and I know that the sports minister now has come out to say that, look, we want to hold this thing in a very high esteem now. We have our rules, we have our regulations. Any team that is willing to continue with us in the MPFL, in the NNL, even the NLO, should
have a contract.
And well, I don't know how many of these teams actually.
It's a big one, Idris.
Follow this one before the commencement of this season that we are in. So it's a big one, just like you said. It's a big one.
Okay, of course. Congratulations to Amojesu. The Latvian League, for those who don't know, is called the Latvian Higher League. Of course, they have a chance of participating in the Champions League, the UEFA Europa League, and of course, the newly induced, I think it has not started already, UEFA Europa Conference League coming on board. Sooner, definitely. So it's the first division there. So definitely, but like I said, what is the worth of MPFL? During the week, it is They came out and said, okay, the MPFL TV app is not on online. You can download it. Android, of course, app on.
Just go to your Play Store.
Go to your Play Store if you are using the other side, iOS. Talking about iPhone, definitely can also download it and watch. And of course, we're just looking to what they can do to make it better and see if the word of MPFL. I don't know if you have to rate, if you have to quote a word for MPFL. What will be your own quotation?
To quote word.
If I say the
word of MPFL. Well, I think we have said it as it is now. Maybe some people have agitated in the past that maybe we should remove the word professional from the.
I have an organitor who will tell me.
So it should rather be called Nigeria Football League. I don't know how we can arrive at that. But then, truth be told, Raymond, there is nothing professional about the league at the moment. You and I know the irregularities that have been transpiring between club owners, the principal officers of the league. In fact, the league body, LMC itself, you and I know the irregularities that have been playing out between them. And down to the teams, teams partaking in this one too. You want to say many of them do not have contract with their players. And I see, it baffles me when I wake up and I understand that many of these teams do not have legal contract with their players. And I want to ask myself that why? So why are you dealing with them? What is the basis of the agreement that you guys have?
We have to survive anyhow. During the week also, what's his name now? For the Enyimba chairman came out and said, we cannot compare ourselves with northern teams because the government are not doing it, are not paying enough, are not spending money enough. This is coming from the man who has been at the helm of affairs as a Enyimba chairman for more than Enyimba chairman. Is it Paradigm now? I think his name will skip my brain, of course. But definitely when I remember, I'm going to put it out. He said we cannot compare ourselves with the northern side, northern clubs, because who has been there for
maybe if that was coming from another club, I would have said no. But of course, you want to give it to them. That for Enyimba, when we knew that the governor that was there in the year 2002, 2003, I've forgotten the name of the governor there.
You're talking about
Uzo Kalu. We knew the exploit that Enyimba made, even on the bigger platform on the continent. They won the Champions League back to back. A feat that has never been achieved up to today by any club in Nigeria, and you want to give it to them. So that was when the going was good for them, and of course there was some money to spend, and that was why they had the biggest names as far as Nigerian football is concerned then. But again, you look at what they've been going through in recent years, dating back to that.
Enyimba has not.
Enyimba has not been Enyimba.
I can't remember the last time Enyimba made it to the semi-final of the Champions League. And during the week, they lost out already against Elmerek. 2-1 they won Aba. And lost the fourth leg by 3 goals to nothing. They crash out to the next round of the CAF Confederations Cup. And of course, afterwards, Felix Anyansi-Agu, that is the chairman of Enyimba, says, if the government spend more, maybe we can be like the Northern Africans. But I have to ask a big question. Been there for ages, Idris. We know since when this man have been there. What have been the forward thinking, the forward progression in making Enyimba better?
Another thing, yes, you are right, Raymond, for asking that question. Another thing I would have loved to say is that why should they be even talking about that now? You have been there for ages, just like you said earlier on. And then I want to believe that Enyimba actually gained some financial, in fact, they had some financial gains. They had financial gains in the year 2002, in the year 2003, 2004. So what did they actually do with the fund that they got when they won the Champions League back to back? Now, if subsequent governors, did not do well in terms of financing the club and all of that, the money, the fund that you gained when you won the Champions League back to back, when you were prominent, what did you do
exactly?
To reinforce the squad, to build the team the more,
build the brand. Those times when Enyimba were really there on the continent as champions. That was a time to work. That was a platform to put Enyimba. Set that trend for all the MPFL clubs. But if you're coming out after some 20-something years or more And you're telling me that if the government have spent more, we will have been like the Northern Africa. Man, I bet disagree with that. But then, like I said, the Cover Colonials Cup, Enyimba have crashed out. Definitely that will be the Champions League. Now, there's going to be Enyimba against the either of Rivers or Celtic of South Africa. I look at it, it's like, how do I put it?
Well,
now,
you want to say politics again in play in that one, because in fact, when you just there's some things you can't really reason out in your own mind alone. You look at some things, that would have been part of that too. In the first instance, we understand that the second leg was supposed to be played on Wednesday in Nigeria.
Yes.
During the course of the week, Celtics against Rivers United. Rivers United having had that edge in the first
2-0 first leg win,
from home,
coming home.
South Africa. And, just because Celtics could not get the waiver to sideline COVID-19 protocols in Nigeria, and of course to self-isolate for 7 days before they can have that game. And then FIFA, NFF had to write to CAF to allow them to have that game played at one of these neighboring countries, or fix another date for that game. But ultimately, they couldn't get that waiver to make that game go down in Nigeria and on Wednesday, as it was stipulated. So till now, we are still waiting for a CAF response concerning that, whether the game will be played in one of these neighboring countries, or they just fix the date and of course the venue. We are still waiting for that to come from CAF. But as we speak, yesterday the draws were made for the Champions League and for the Confederations Cup. And what we saw yesterday, Raymond, I said it before that I can see politics in play. Really, how can you, meaning that you just want a Nigerian club side on the continent, a Nigerian club side, and that is even if Rivers United had that edge. Don't forget, if Celtics are able to turn the tide around, meaning that they can even go ahead to beat Enyimba,
and of course have no Nigerian
the last qualifying. So definitely we are not going to have a Nigerian team on the continent. So it's policy. Then you want to ask yourself a question: that do we not have Amadou Pinnick in CAF anymore?
No, we don't have him anymore. He's been off there for a while now. It's been off. I think since this is 2021. I think it's 2018 or 2019. If I'm not wrong. It's been away. Away from that, being the vice president in CAF. But looking at it as well, how do you have two teams? Well, I think we've seen. It's not the first time. Maybe we should not be surprised. I think I've seen there was a season. There was a season in which, is it the Confederations Cup or CAF Champions League now? We had like two teams from the same country in the group. This is because you look at we have only 4 groups. That's 16 in the Champions League. I think the same thing right there. And in Africa, we have not less than, I think, 50 countries.
55.
And you want to ask me questions, how do we not spread it out? Why not increase the number of teams coming on board so that we will not be having clashes of the same country, in the qualifying series or in the group stage? Though I think a lot of money, a lot of I think that administrative process has to be taken. It's very, very important. You can't have 16 teams.
Very, very important.
16 teams from 55 countries on the continent. It's not good enough for CAF, left to me. Yes, they increased the money. Before it was $1.5 million, increased to I think 3.5 now. Yeah. But then that is not about increasing the money now. You're abandoning it and making it better. You can't put the CAF Champions League on par. I don't want to talk with Champions League, Champions League, on par with the Copa Libertadores.
If you look at what is obtainable in Europe, Raymond, you see UEFA, the way they go about their own. Definitely. What they do for these countries that are less prominent in terms of football, now what they do for them is that they bring them together to have clubs play one another in their own country. Of course, you can't see teams from England to play against a team from Latvia or so in qualifying stage for the UEFA Champions League. No, except
you are just that one step towards the group
getting
stage.
That qualification. Yes. Yeah, that is when you get to see the likes of Leicester City
from the very first qualification round. They know that you don't see Leicester team play against them till they get to that stage.
Till they get to that stage, not that big teams from football prominent countries will now be playing against
that is giving people chances. To express yourself. And that's why in recent time we've seen teams from Latvia, talk about Serbia, get to the group stage. And for people who don't know, not Macedonia, but the very first time we play in Euro Championship, come this year rather. At the point we witnessed Iceland. Before you know, all these are Faroe Island and the likes. We catch up, and that is building football right there. I mean, in Europe, that's how things are done. We just hope, like we used to hope every time, that one day it will just maybe be better. But then we're still on Sport Drill, 26 minutes past, and of course, like I said, don't leave me.
My boo said are the key of my heart. Like, can I proudly say Bukola Saraki? If I trust the bank, is that a guarantee? And lockdown in Kwara State, is that a quarantine? Fresh out. Alabama person where I feel no. They say I've been lying, but me I do know. Like, if I put you on top rope, are you in Euro? Fresh out. Mahmoud Inanna swinging, come on, Lilo. Fresh out. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Think. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Hey, don't leave me.
Effect of football, effect of improper administration as far as Nigerian football is concerned. Sport. Sorry, we're just talking football. We're definitely going to go to other sport, definitely. But then it's cases are concerns at the moment that we tend to treat. Idris, under 17, will be playing against Ghana today. And don't forget the last time under 20 played, had the same issue. Lost to Ghana, drew Cote d'Ivoire, and then before we know it was all over. We are not going to have them at the AFCON Championship, and of course that is no under 20 championship for Nigeria. The Golden Eagles have found themselves in the same stage. Lost the first game to Cote d'Ivoire against Ghana today. Anything but a win, Idris, it is back home. Another disappointment if they don't pick the result.
I think we have carried the very disappointing result we've been getting throughout the year 2022, the new year 2021. Talking about Ivory Coast and Nigeria, don't forget Ivory Coast actually served as a stumbling block for our girls to qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah.
They didn't allow us to get through. Again, the under 20 Eagles,
the same thing.
They had what I used to term a catastrophic outing in Togo. Talking of that under 20 Wafu Cup, but that would have been the qualification for them for the under 20 Nations Cup that will go down in Mauritania. But of course, they are out of that one too. Now, the Golden Eaglets, they are having another opportunity. The first leg, well, they lost 1-0 to Ivory Coast again, and maybe we should talk about the build-up to that particular encounter. Now, no, I mean sincerely, we had a 60 number of, a total number of 60 players in camp, led by Fatamo.
Yeah.
And on the way, they
after
had
the
to put
MRI
them
scan,
down, because of the MRI scan, which they failed. Meaning that it was left with 20 or 25 players or thereabouts. Then it took them to Togo, and in the process of trying to get the team ready and all of that, they said they would do MRI scan again. Of course, fortunately for them, they scaled through that one, meaning that he had only 2 weeks to prepare these new boys for this tournament. And going into that, that encounter, we thought that, okay, these boys should be able to do it, but then they lost by 1-0. Now, a lot of people have been talking after the game. Fatama actually said, okay, lack of adequate preparation.
G3 and the likes.
And all that. And I think Dele Ajiboye, a lot of stakeholders in sports have been talking. But then what is important to us now, Raymond, is that we should get that maximum 3 points against the Black Satellite of Ghana.
This is important to us.
We cannot afford to win by a long goal. Because if we win by a long goal, don't forget we have a goal deficit. So
that would be zero.
That would be zero. But if you are able to win by 2 goals
or 3 goals,
then we know that we cancel that deficit. Then we have a long goal to stand on. So we have to win convincingly so that we can book a slot in the next round
in the
semi-final. So the Golden Eagles cannot afford.
But how do we prepare for 2 weeks and expect a good result, Idris?
That's what we've been talking about. Dele Ajiboye was talking about their own experience in 2007.
Under
Coach Yemi Teller. He said they've been in camp for I think 6 months. Yeah, preparing in Abuja, where he said they were in camp for 6 months. Now, if you are in camp for 6 months, preparing for a tournament, if you don't win that tournament,
you go far.
They should beat all of you.
No, you will go far. You go far. I remember. I think Felix will have been in the building on Sport Drill. I think that was last year, and he was talking about their preparation during the 1980s. Otto Gloria led side. I mean, he said they've been in camp since he can't even remember. Like, they were in camp preparing for this because that was what they wanted to do. They were there just to, so comparing to the fact that you are not in camp for 2 weeks to negotiate a waffle tournament, Idris. It's going to be tough, definitely.
It means that we have trivialized this particular tournament because you want to play against counterparts coming from other African countries.
Maybe they felt it's a bad try. You know, we are 5-time champion.
Now, another thing is this, Raymond. Don't forget, we talked about it last week that the NFF has removed the bonuses and allowances for this age
of course, for these age grade teams.
Now, if you are removing bonuses, allowances from the, how do you expect them to give their best?
So what are they feeding on?
Already, once your parents see that you are already donning the colors of the Super Eagles or the Golden Eagles or whatever, you have become the breadwinner of your family.
Definitely.
They don't care about whether you are receiving bonuses or not. They know that since you are wearing that shirt, you have become the bread. You are begin. In fact, money. You are now the money that they are looking at.
That's why I said that football in this part of the world is to have a better life. Not mostly to say.
But the truth is that reverse is the case.
Yeah.
Reverse is the case. And that is what has been affecting us. A lot of people, Daniel Amokachi, I've forgotten the name of this coach now, actually talked about it that, look, you have to restore these bonuses.
John Obu.
You have to restore because that will serve as motivation for them to want to do more, even beyond expectation. But now there's nothing, no ginger, no motivation. How do you expect them to give their all? Well, that's the problem.
How do you expect them to give their all? Of course, today it's a country tackle, a country battle rather. Between Ghana and Nigeria. Who goes through? Definitely, Nigeria must win, not by a long goal, possibly convincingly, because Ghana and Ivory Coast are still going to play against each other. Before we decide who moves to the semi-final. Of course, they have to get to the semi-final where the winner and the runner-up definitely qualifies as far as West Africa is concerned. To the next stage to the AFCON proper right there in Morocco. And of course, we're looking to see. We can just wish all the Eagles all the best. Fatama also come out and say that you go out and take charge. NFF President Amadu Pinnick also come out to say that you go out all out. You can always go all out, but then if you're not prepared, you don't go into an examination.
And Raymond, like I said earlier on, they cannot even afford to camp them for 60 days or so, 6 months, whatever, because what would they be giving them? Now you are not giving them bonus. The training allowance is nothing. So
are we going to hide? I know people will say, or maybe some parts will say, there was COVID-19 now, and so they cannot.
There was COVID. So there was COVID-19. So is there no COVID-19 now that they're playing?
Idris, don't leave me.
What birthday are we counting for Lazarus? Yeah. Black Lives Matter, are they counting us? If I do white wedding, are they alternative? If I marry in Agbada, now alternative. Me na freedom man, meaning many things. You not hedgehog, just be seen at 17.
Wait, 17 species.
Work it out. How's this for a Sega Link Sonic out?
So wait, back there, if they drink Lipton like this, they watch television. Does that mean this is TV?
Okay, definitely. Let me give you a rundown of matches that we played in the weekend. This weekend in the MPFL. Before we jump to the ladies who have been doing well, Abia Warriors today against Aqua United, and of course other games tomorrow. We see Nassau United against Kano Pillars, Katsina against Adamawa United, MFM against Sunshine Stars, Atlant against Plateau United, Lobby Stars against Warri Wolves, Rivers against Kwara United, and of course Enyimba against Wiki Tourist, Ifeanyi who is also now owing players. Against Dakar City, Jigawa Golden Stars against Enugu Rangers. Atlant paid 2 months' salary. I think I got a report before we came into the studio, and of course, let's leave salary. Let's go to NWFL quickly. Matches went down during the week, of course, and that was match day 4 of quickly one of the results. Sunshine Queens against Edo Queens went goalless right there. So Royal Queens defeated Osun Babes by a long goal. Eunice Godwin in the 88th minute was all they needed to get that one. And of course, Dream Star Ladies 3, Ibom Angels 2, and Rivers Angels defeated Abia Angels by 2-0. Deborah Abiodun and Vivian Okechukwu getting those goals. Bayelsa Queens, league leaders, Bayelsa Queens 2-1 win over Conference Queens. They maintained their lead. 4 matches, 4 points. 4 matches, 12 points. It has been maximum point for Bayelsa Queens. I think they are ready to take everything. Finally, Nasarawa Amazons finally take their first victory of the season at beating Delta Queens. Courtesy of a goal by Chinyere Guamalu, 44th minute strike. It was enough to get their first win this season for Nasarawa Amazon. While the last match of the day had a whitewash. FC Robo Queens whitewash Pelican Stars, who is being owed up to 14-16 month salary by 5-1. They let them know.
Yeah, really, a lot of mouth-watering encounter, went down in the NWF over the last couple of days. And you see, I think for me, I really love the fact that Nasarawa Amazons were able to get their first victory of the season. And well, for Delta Queens, they have now lost their 2 away games, so not too good for them. But for Christopher Danjuma, talking of Nasarawa Amazons, I think it will be a bit relieved because going into that game, no doubt about that, the fact that he was under a lot of pressure.
Definitely. First 3 games lost.
Having lost all the first 3 games of the season. So good one for that. I think they can have their confidence back. Look, I think we can begin to win games now. We were thinking we will not be able to win any game before, but of course, we have won this one. Definitely, we should be able to build on this confidence going into the next game of the season. But for Robo Queens, well, what can we say? Their 3rd win out of 4 games this season. Fantastic one for them. Monday Gifts also getting a name on the score sheet this time around again, one more time after winning the Player of the Month of December 2020. I think a good one is having gotten the maximum points out of 12 points. They got all 12. Yeah. So meaning that this is a team. I think it's a team to beat this season. And well, I don't see one thing about Bayelsa Queens is the way, the momentum, the way they've been able to, prove themselves. Don't forget that the last game against I think, was it against Conference? Yeah. It was like they were going to lose because Conference Queens drew the first blood.
Exactly.
And it was like Bayelsa Queens will lose that game. But, well, just like fate would have it, they believed it. One thing about that team is that they came from behind to win 2-1, meaning that this is a team that I think the coach understands what operates in the NWFL. That's one thing I know about Bayelsa Queens. And I don't see them, eating the floor anytime from now. They just keep on waxing stronger and stronger every game.
Okay, waxing stronger every game. Of course, the table looks like this. 4 matches, 12 points for Bayelsa Queens. They lead that one easily and convincingly. They scored 7 goals are considered 3. And of course, having 4 goal deficit. 4 goals plus rather for themselves. FC Robo Queens are second, 4 matches, 9 points. Rivers Angels, 4 matches, 8 points. Edo Queens are 4th, 4 matches, 8 points. And of course, Osun Babe 4th, 4 matches, 5th rather, 4 matches, 6 points. In the relegation zone, 2 teams will relegate definitely. Dream Star Ladies 4 matches, 3 points, and of course Pelican Stars 4 matches, 1 point. In fact, that Pelican Stars don't even negotiate it. You cannot owe that amount of money. 14-16 months. Are not relegate. Definitely, you don't expect them.
Maybe it's too early for us to say they will relegate.
Okay, maybe if they pay their 14-month salary, maybe it can actually ginger them. But they also definitely, there was a report as well saying MPFL teams should go and do what is conduct their COVID-19 test. And of course, Sunshine Queens, Bayelsa Queens have conducted their test ahead of week 5. And NWFL has said, if you don't conduct this test and send to us before January 11,
yeah, both statements coming from the management of the NWF, Elisha Folode and team members. I think it's a good one going forward. We have entered the second wave of COVID-19, and it's very, very good and important now for these teams to go through the second round of testing for coronavirus. And you never can tell. Maybe as we speak, some of these players are even carrying the virus that they don't know. But one thing I like about the NWFL is the fact that when they say something, they do it. When they talk, they execute. Immediately. That's one thing. That's one thing about them. Don't forget, in the beginning, there were 2 teams that were dropped off. They didn't even mind to drop them. And that is one thing that I've been saying, that the MPFL should copy from the NWFL. Now they're saying it boldly that, look, if you fail, we are giving you an ultimatum of 11th day of January. If you fail to test your players for COVID-19, goodbye. We will continue the league. But if you fail to register your player or to test them for COVID-19, goodbye, you'll be disqualified. And that has been their stand. I see, kudos has to be given to Aisha Falode. She's really, really playing the role of face. Don't forget, like I said earlier on, I think in the last edition of the show, they became the first league as far as football is concerned in Nigeria to begin to kick off. And I think it's one thing that is worthy of emulation. If there are some people watching really that want to emulate good things.
If there are some people watching really that wants to emulate good things, then
water enter bathroom, you want go well. You might find water for desert, the man know well. Human being made out of dust, your skin. G-boy is already on the paper, push the magazine. Why I live relationship, I give my extension. Life hard, life question. Hey. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Think. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Hey. Don't leave me.
Don't leave me. Okay, let's go. Somebody that is going to leave as well. Not leaving, but maybe I would say a partial leave. Mike Brown. Come Kigali, 18th, 19th of February. Mike Brown, the associate head coach of Golden State Warriors, will not be available for the Tigers. Idris, what is the implication of this one?
Yeah, really, for maybe because we understand the way the agreement he has with the MBBF is working, so maybe we won't be able to talk about the flip side of that, of what is trying to play out now. Really, if you're listening to that for the first time, you'll be like, so why did he, pick up the job
exactly.
Why did they give him the job when they know that he's going to be available every time we need him? Why is it that he's coming out to say that, look, I will be off? Didn't you know that you had an agreement with Golden State Warriors before you picked this job up? But then the two parties, the MBBF and of course the I think Mike Brown himself, they knew what they were about to enter into before they signed that agreement. But of course, just like he has said, don't forget the Tigers. They had fantastic outing as far as the first phase of the qualifiers is concerned. They won all their 3 games against Rwanda and I think some other teams,
Mali and of course
Sudan, South Sudan, yeah, and they are topping that group now. So come February 1921 in Kigali, we start the second phase. But don't forget, he also mentioned something that we are having, a plethora of coaches in the Tigers team that can actually lead them to glory again in the second phase of the qualifiers. He made mention of John Cuesta, who used to be the head coach of Detroit Pistons in the NBA. He talked about Johnny Fernandez, who is the second assistant for the Denver Nuggets. He talked about Davin Ham, associate head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. So, meaning that, but another question that I would like to ask, Raymond, is the fact that why, when all these coaches are working with the Tigers, why did they go ahead to bring Mike Brown? Is it because he's the most experienced out of all of them?
Well, MBBF, we have a lot of questions to answer. Definitely with that. He's an associate head coach. He's not the head coach of Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Associate head coach.
Just like an assistant.
But then possibly a bit more powerful than the assistant. And of course, he has a lot of work to do for the Golden State Warriors. But then, just like you said, if we have all these coaches, maybe I should read out some of them. We have Davin Ham, who is the associate head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. We also have some of the G League coaches. We have John Cuesta, who used to be a former head coach of Detroit Pistons. We have Denver Nuggets, Sammy Gelfand, who is the analytic coach from Detroit Pistons. And of course, we have our own Alex Uwora as well. But I say we have all these coaches, and then Mike Brown is the head coach. But going to a tournament, Idris, and not having the head, it's like telling me Kenneth Roy is not going to go with the Super Eagles, and he's had to leave the life of Joseph Yoba and his assistant to go and negotiate games. And you want to ask questions, how did you sign a contract in which your head coach will not be available for an Afro basket qualifier?
It means we have trivialized these qualifiers, really, because I, in fact, when we had all these coaches on ground, I don't know why they went ahead to bring in Mike Brown. Don't forget, Alex Uwora has been the head coach of the team. But they said, okay, because maybe they felt at that point in time that it couldn't lead them to, I think we're going for World Cup then, when they brought in Mike Brown also. I think we were heading for a particular tournament that time that they went to bring Mike Brown. So, meaning that all these guys will have to be the ones in charge. But one thing I know is the fact that this does not speak well.
No.
When you're going to a qualifier, you're going to play a tournament and your head coach will not be available. So, who will be in charge? I know he must have delegated powers and authority.
That comes into play, Idris. If at all, if the NBA clashes with the AfroBasket, tournament proper, are you telling me Mike Brown will not be on board?
And that is how we used to have it.
And if don't forget that NBA says most of these players might not even be available for the Olympics. Let's assume, okay, just definitely, maybe I think the calendar I think as far as I know, the NBA will not be on board when the
Olympics.
But then going to future
tournaments.
Definitely. Are you going to be telling me that is how Mike Brown will not be available for tournament because he's an associate head coach? What kind of contract is that?
You see, before now, I used to think that it's only the NFF that lacks idea. Really, I used to think it's only the NFF that lacks direction. I used to think it's only the NFF that lacks vision, insight. But I mean, what the MBBF has come out to do now has clearly shown that maybe they were not being proactive when they signed Mike Brown. But I know that probably they were trying to impress Nigerians by bringing in an head coach.
I think Idris. I think it's more than him being a coach. Maybe because he plays is a former NBA player, and of course he's a coach in the NBA. Maybe he can open opportunities for us. I think it's more than him being a coach, as far as I'm concerned. Because how will you cannot employ a coach that you know that is tight, and that brings me to the fact that even our own Super Falcons, we have a manager who will be working in USA with a university college team, and of course come down to Nigeria to also do that is charge. Having a double work on your hand. I don't know how this works.
Really, it's frustrating, and sometimes you might not even understand it as they may be. But one thing I know is the fact that there is politics in the way we do things. That is clear. But again, you look at how situations have been handled in the past. I think we are beginning it's a paradigm shift. Something like this have never happened in the history of Nigerian sport, as far as I know. Even when we had the likes of Clemens Westerhoff, handling the Super Eagles, then that was the job he was doing. He never had another job. We never had that he had another job elsewhere. That was the job. He was focused on the Super Eagles job. And everything has changed. Everything has changed now. We now have a host of coaches trying to, handling team here, handling team abroad, and all of that. The case of the head coach of the Super Falcons that you talked about, the NFF in their own, they went ahead to bring in a university coach for the Super Falcons, which I want to repeat has never happened before in the history of Nigerian sports. So I think it's a paradigm shift, like I said earlier on. So we just have to face it. It's a reality that we have to face.
Reality we have to face. So you had it here that Mike Brown will not be available for the Afro Basket qualifiers in Kigali, Rwanda, between February 19 to 2021. And of course, it's what it is right away. We are there. But then he said, according to him, Mike Brown, he believes he has a lot of coaches who can handle it. And of course, like I said, Davinam, you have John Cuesta, you have Alex Uvora, Jody Fernandez, all experienced. And he said, all these guys are going to be able to come back in February. So that's going to help with the continuity going forward. But then the head coach himself will not be available, partial leave for Mike Brown to continue his job as associate coach right here with Golden State Warriors.
Menses, she gon' need iPad. To snacks up to each other. Is that a pie chart? I can't be lying because you know what I can't stand. Wolf in sheep's clothing is so rampant. Baby front there, coffee be person with the backside. She MJ be Christian. Why the brother call the backslide? Okay, take note, not just stand look. If I did wrong for school, she not exercise book.
Don't leave me, don't leave me. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Think, don't leave me, don't leave me. Hey, don't leave me. Hey.
If I call my boo Sarah the key of my heart, like, can I proudly say Bukola Saraki? Well, if I trust the bank, is that a guarantee? And lockdown in Kwara State, is that a quarantine? I love I'm not person where I do know. They say I've been lying, but me I do know. Like, if I put you on top rope, are you in Euro? Fresh out. Mahmoud Inanna swinging, come on, Lilo. Fresh out.
Don't leave me, don't leave me. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Think, don't leave me, don't leave me. Hey.
Our sport will not leave us one day with our handling. We'll be complaining of these since I used to say, even before we got complain about Nigerian sport. But then we'll talk about and leave the rest definitely. Let's go straight a bit of European sport. Not European sport, but as it concerns Nigerian players. And of course, there's one man that have been eating the goals. This man has been scoring for fun. This man anytime he donned the jersey of Nigeria, everybody wants him out of the team because he will not perform for us. But let him put on the jersey of RC Genk in Belgium. The man is on fire. He's arguably Nigeria's most informed player at the moment. 18 matches, 18 goals. Top scorer in the Belgian league. And of course, we're talking about nobody else now. The man who came first game against Egypt got the first goal in the first minute. That was the fastest goal by any Nigerian player as far as Super Eagles is concerned. But then since then, it has not been easy for him as far as Nigerian football is concerned. Super Eagles. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Noachu is on fire. Got the first hat-trick. Should I say the first hat-trick of 2021? I don't know if I'm right.
Yes, you're right.
As far as football is concerned. But then his own first hat-trick. But like I'm saying, if in Europe, I don't know if it's the first hat-trick. But then the big news is that this man is 18 goals.
Yeah, really, we can talk that about Paul Onuachu. He has been on fire since the beginning of the season. He plays for KRC Genk. And, he has been scoring the goals since the beginning of the season. And, just like the trend will continue for him, starting the year on a high, scoring hat-trick for Genk again, meaning that he's now on 18 goals out of 18 league games that has been played this season already. So I think it's a big one for him. But one thing that we're always concerned about is the fact that if he can actually bring that form, that scintillating form he's been having for his club to the colors of the Super Eagles. Whenever he plays for the Super Eagles, we don't get to see much of him.
Is it about really, him or about the
tactics of the coach? Yeah, you want to say that, I understand. But then you look at the first game where he played, this same coach, he used them, and of course, he scored that fantastic goal. I remember the goal. It was a banger. I mean, he just shot many yards away from the goal area, and the ball was inside the net of the Pharaohs of Egypt. So you want to say that then a lot of people were already saying, okay, maybe we are having another Rashidi Yekini on our hands. But what did we see after that game, Raymond? We didn't see much of Onuachu. Then a lot of people started talking about the tactics of the manager, that how can you have such and it's a word that they use for Rashidi Yekini, gangling striker,
of course,
in form of Paul Onuachu, that you cannot bring the best out of him. But the case is, we all know the tactics that Coach Kenneth Rowe plays. He doesn't he doesn't fancy ball from the back to the striker. He likes to play from the flanks and maybe chip in one or two passes to the. But that is not the style that suits Paul Onuachu. We all know that he's a striker that likes to maybe chase the ball down and shoot, just like we saw in the first game against Pharaohs of Egypt. So I think more has to be done on the part of the coach. I mean, when players cannot, execute your tactics terrifically, I said it terrifically because players have to understand the tactics of the coach, and
very important.
Has to understand tactics that suit a certain player. So, and if this understanding is not there, it will be very difficult for a coach to get the best out of it. His or our players.
It's very difficult. The tactics is very, very important. Onuachu with 18 goals is on course to become the third Nigerian player to become the top scorer of the Benja top flight after Tosin Doshimu and of course Joseph Akpala, who won the accolade in 2005, 2006 season and 2007, 2008.
Joseph Akpala, I remember that
respectively. And one thing in common with these two, none of them they had their time. Maybe they had a little chance, but they never caught it. I don't know if that thing is the same thing affecting on your
trip. But for Joseph Akpala, it didn't really. Well, It didn't spark. We were expecting. It didn't spark. So the 2010 World Cup, they had to call on him to come and do one or two things in the squad and all of that. So it didn't really spark like we expected. But of course, it is what it is for Paul. Well, a lot of people don't believe in him anymore. They have lost confidence.
So many.
They have lost confidence in him. But maybe when the coach understands him, then he can begin to bring him on in games and try to see one or two things he can do with his tactics. He has to. One thing I know is that a coach has to be flexible in the way.
Of course,
he comes up with his tactics and all of that. You have to be flexible because there are some players that might not be suited for that kind of tactics, a particular tactics you want to play in a game. So you have to have a way to change your tactics so that players can fit in adequately.
Okay, players can fit in adequately. 12:56, we have to start and saying BY definitely on today's episode of Sports Drill right here on Pension House 106.7 FM. For everybody who have been part of this, we have to say very big thank you. It's been a fantastic 55 minutes thereabout. And of course, the second edition this year, it can only get better. A very big thanks to Idris for coming on board.
Thank you for having me on the show, Raymond.
Of course, many thanks to everyone that have been part of this, listen to us, all social media who have watched, obviously, very big thank you. And of course, many thanks to our producer, Babatunde Tiameyo, saying very big thank you as well. My name remains the Sport Illuminator, Raymond Tolulope. Till I come your way tomorrow, 3 p.m. on Sport Tuzzle, I say, don't leave me.
Yeah. What birthday are we counting for Lazarus? Yeah. Black Lives Matter, are they counting us? If I do white wedding, are they alternative? If I marry in Agbada, now alternative. Me na freedom man, meaning many things. You na hedgehog, your species at 17.
Wait, 17 station?
Work it out. How's this for a Sega Link Sonic out?
So wait, but if they drink lips like this,